So we really want it to be elevated, tavern fare or country club fare. So a lot of classics that are going to be elevated. As Reuben said, like this place is open to the public. It's not just for members. So we want people to, if you're on the Pinellas Trail, you could stop in, grab a cocktail or a glass of wine. Maybe you want to view pickleball. Maybe you want to watch a game on the TV. Maybe you just want to have a little date. And so the menu will be, I think a lot of handhelds, a lot of shareable plates as well. We'll have some healthy options. Obviously, we expect a crowd that is more like into wellness, of course. And then we'll also have this, we haven't really talked about it, but kind of a coffee and tea section and coffee and tea bar that will be, really high quality, what you can expect from Intermezzo, for example. And then some food offerings there as well. So you'll be able to get breakfast there. You'll be able to have lunch there.
Hello, all you beautiful people, and welcome back to Talkin St. Pete. I'm your host, Ryan Bogdan. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to let you know this episode is sponsored by Bogdan Homes. So if you need any help in the local area, buying, selling, investing, or just need a resource, we're here to help. Find our contact information in the description below. We have a very, very, very special episode today. One, it's the first of 4 guests on the show, a totally different setup here in the studio. So we're going to see how this goes. And we got some real movers and shakers here who are shaping the city of St. Pete. So I'm very, very excited. We got the founders of St. Pete Athletic Club. You guys are taking over the factory. So let's go down the line here. We got Reuben Pressman, managing operator, let's say that, and founding member of St. Pete Athletic. Graham D'Amico, also that, and owner of Florida Smash pickleball team, yes?
Yeah, Major League Pickleball team.
Yeah, look at that. That's amazing. Jarrett Sabatini, owner of Intermezzo.
Nailed it.
I think everyone knows that. And also Green Bench, co-founder?
Absolutely.
Nathan Stonecipher. So everyone knows who you guys are, right? You guys are introductions even necessary?
All right, we're done here.
We're done. Okay, so let's start from the top. Who wants to say, we got St. Pete Athletic Club. What is it? Let's start there, because I think that's just really important. Because not everyone reads the news all the time, right? They know a lot of people probably know the factory sold, but now there's something cool coming. What is it?
Sure. Yeah, so we were one of the people that signed a lease with the new ownership group at the factory to be alongside all of the existing tenants and the artists that are going to continue to be there and everything as well. St. Pete Athletic came from both a need locally for more courts, as well as more social spaces to bring the community together.
I agree with that. For a younger crowd, right, in terms of a club, right? Because, accessible. That's one thing I read about you guys, making an accessible club for pickleball. So, because it's blown up. Courts are busy.
That's right. Yeah. So pickleball, fastest growing sport in the country.
Yeah.
Over 40 million players now. St. Pete's one of the biggest hotspots for that. It can take you over an hour to get on a court. And we're also the second in the country of courts per capita. So huge need for courts. And like you said, huge need for an accessible social kind of club experience. And so we're taking what's lent itself to the growth of pickleball being about how accessible it is to the social side. Let's build the social aspect just as accessible.
So I think people are going to be really excited about this because it's more than just a pickleball court, right? And that's why all of you are here, because you all bring a unique aspect to this partnership, and this amazing place is going to be. When are we expected to be open? In early 2025? Are we sticking with that?
We're sticking with early 25 for now.
Okay, early 25.
About that.
Yeah,
Yes.
feel like I'll throw out, April-ish is what we're looking at.
And so there's going to be a restaurant included.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so Jarrett, what do we got going on there?
Yeah, so Nathan and I are kind of overseeing the food and beverage program there. So, full restaurant, big bar at this facility. So we want people to be able to obviously grab a drink, grab food while they're there. So, on court, people can order. We'll have some seating, courtside. We'll have restaurant seating. We'll have a bar with, 20 to 30 plus seats. And so, yeah, we're super excited about it. Full cocktail program. Beer, wine, beer by Green Bench, of course. Yeah.
That's going to be, so wait, on the court, we can place some orders.
Yeah.
This is fancy.
Yeah, we're actually going to be setting up little kiosks, like little ordering tablets on every court where you can order directly to your court. Someone will bring you food and drink right there. You would just think Topgolf, right? You would just sit and eat and drink and play and everything.
Yeah.
So did you guys all know each other prior to this project?
Mostly.
Some of us, yeah.
Yeah?
I don't think I knew Graham that
What's
well.
our origin story? Do we have
Yeah,
one?
that's what I want to. I want to start.
I mean,
Who? Wait, let's go back to inception. So I'm always curious of that. Like, this is 4 entrepreneurs coming together and say, okay, we're going to start this pickleball social club. We're going to add a restaurant. Nathan and Jarrett are going to take care of that. You're bringing the paddleball experience. But where was the inception? Who had the original idea?
It was kind of Graham and I almost at the same time, I think. We had always talked about the need for a club. Eventually paired up and got together to go after making it happen, and then approached these guys to bring the social side, which we knew was a major component of that.
And how much convincing needed to be done to get them on board?
So I went to.
They had to convince me.
You were the harder convinced.
Yeah. So I went to.
Convince Graham to work with us.
Yeah, so I went to Jarrett and said, because him and I have been kind of talking about trying to do some hospitality stuff at some point, so this made sense. And then Nate actually approached us and said, we want to be in on this, and that made perfect sense.
Yeah, it's one of those things, especially all of us have been in St. Petersburg for so long. I think most of us born and raised here. And the older you get, the more you realize how important it is to work with the right people who have the right vision and have complementary talents to what you bring to the table, right? Kind of how we started Green Bench Brewing with my 2 other co-founders. We're all good at different things, and that's what this group brings here. And what was so fun for Green Bench to think about was having this new, unique, different space right on the Pinellas Trail, which really hasn't been fully utilized in the city of St. Pete yet. So this is a really, really cool project with, I think, the right people involved. And St. Pete's never seen anything like it.
I agree. And Nathan, I want to highlight that. Let's go, because I think origin stories of all you guys a little bit. We have plenty of time to go on that, because you were early, I think, in bringing Green Bench to St. Pete. So 2013, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, we opened in 2013, and it took us over 6 months to just get the city to kind of change the zoning code so that breweries could even happen. There was an issue with light manufacturing combined with retail. And so it's been amazing to see the growth of the brewing industry since then. We still feel young and like a startup, but really I think a lot of people in Florida in the brewing industry look at us more as kind of a legacy brand now, which is funny to us because we don't see ourselves as that. But that's how new the brewing industry is here.
Which others have popped up around the city. But 2013, the landscape of St. Pete's different. Where was your mindset out of like, okay, we're going to start a brewery here in St. Pete?
Yeah, for us, right, we each have our different stories as far as the founders of Green Bench. But, you know, for me, it was a passion project of wanting to be a part of the renaissance that was starting to happen in St. Pete, which really started around 2000 or the late 90s, and wanting to establish something new that hadn't been done before. There's plenty of breweries now, which is great, but they're all different, which is, I think, pretty cool in and of itself. Everybody connects in a different way to a different place. And so, you know, we've kind of been on this journey to help build community. We hope that's what our beer garden's for. That's what our product's for. And this is just going to be another extension of that for us. New people, new place, and new faces, hopefully, all with a little bit of pickleball in the background.
Well, I love that. And I love the collaboration, even on this project, because that's what St. Pete is all about from an entrepreneurial small business sense, right? And I can highlight it, Nathan, we're going to go down the line here, but good friends of mine, Brian and Angie with Golden Isles, they shared the story of how you helped them in the early stages, which is phenomenal because I'm sure there's other cities that would not do that, right? They would look at that as competition and not collaboration.
Yeah, now I post up at their bar every couple weeks, so it's great. You know, it works fantastic.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I really love that. Jarrett, Intermezzo.
Yeah.
What a staple in the community, with especially in that block of Central between 9th and 12th. Yeah. So many fun things happening there. A lot of people know who you are. People love Intermezzo, especially around the different holiday times with the decorating and things that you bring. So give us a little bit inception story on Intermezzo.
Yeah, I mean, we opened up, we're coming up on our 8-year anniversary. Actually, Saturday is our 8-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
Party. Thank you.
Mike,
impressive.
Mike.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So Saturday is our 8-year anniversary party, but it's funny because, when Nathan was talking about how people look at Green Bench as this legacy brand and they still look at themselves as a startup in many ways, that's how I feel. I don't think that we're a legacy brand by any means, but hearing you say like, oh, many people know about Intermezzo and love Intermezzo, for me, it's still, not surprising, but it just feels good to hear because I still feel like, okay, I just started. But it's been 8 years now. So yeah, when I opened, the Edge District was literally the edge of town, and there wasn't much going on. I mean, Green Bench already started making, paving the way there. Bodega started paving the way there, and obviously the stadium is there. But it really took, a lot to get that district to where it is now. And so, when I opened up, it was like, and Nathan will tell you this too, there was, just dirt lots everywhere around that neighborhood. And now every one of those dirt lots is a 500-unit apartment building. So it's really become a neighborhood, and it's really become the neighborhood that I saw for the business that we needed. We always wanted to be an elevated, sophisticated neighborhood bar.
Which you have done. So where did the themes come from with doing like the holiday time? You're decked out, Christmas story, puking everywhere in the best way, right?
Yeah,
Halloween everywhere. So was that something you started at inception? Because I wasn't here then, to be honest.
Yeah, so Miracle at Mezzo is the name of our holiday pop-up, and it's funny because every day someone comes in and I'll overhear the conversation, and it's like, oh, this is the Christmas bar. And I just want to like interrupt and be like, we're also a bar the other 11 months out of the year, So it's almost like I joke around like we're an 11-month pop-up as a cocktail bar, but we're really a Christmas bar. But so that started. So funny enough, Miracle is actually a seasonal franchise that we got chosen to be a part of, and so it's run by these really great cocktail group out of New York City called Cocktail Kingdom, and they own some of the best bars in the city. They reached out to us, asked us to be a part of it. We did. We were among the first in Florida. At the time, there was only 150 or 200 locations in Miracle around the world. Now there's like 250 or 300. But yeah, this will be our 6th or 7th year doing it. So it's a huge staple, and a lot of people know us for it.
Yeah, definitely. Graham.
Yes.
Pickleball extraordinaire. So how do you get into owning a pickleball team?
I lucked into it actually a little bit. So when it first started, it was only 8 teams, and it was one guy that started it up out of Austin, Texas. And I was big into pickleball. It's when I met Reuben roughly 4 years ago. And I reached out to this guy named Steve, billionaire out of Texas. And I said, hey, I want to own one of those teams. And he said, sorry, they're already accounted for. And so I said, okay, well, if anyone changes their mind or they want to expand, give me a call. That didn't happen. The next year, they had 4 more teams come out. I asked again. He said, who do you know, who you networked with? And I said, nobody. And so I finally said to him, who do I have to get one of these teams? What would be the perfect partner for me to bring to you that you'll say, hey, we'll sell you one of these teams? He said, Oprah. And so I didn't know Oprah.
So you called Oprah.
Yeah. Called Oprah. Oprah said no. But I happen to know someone locally that's, affiliated with Publix. And I said, hey, I know this woman. She's with the Publix family. Would she work? They flew down the next day. And so that got me in the door. She didn't quite come on board, but since I had my foot in the door, I just kept, harassing. I said, you know what, if you want a team, you get a team. I got one with a couple other partners. And here we are today. Within 3 months of me owning a team, LeBron James purchased a team, Kevin Durant purchased a team, and suddenly it just blew up into this celebrity ownership. And so
When was this?
I've owned the team now for about 3 years, I want to say. And so this happened maybe, like I said, 6 months or so after when I purchased the team. So in the last 2 years.
So you had some insight there.
Zero.
Zero? You were early, though.
Yeah, I was early just because I loved pickleball. I wanted to have access to the pros. I wanted our local players to have a chance to play on a pro team because they couldn't. To be a pro, even in those days, it was difficult. You had to know somebody or know a good player to get on a team. And I thought, hey, if I own a team, I can give these local pros the chance to be seen on a national scale. And so that's the only reason I did it. It was just basically throwing money into a fire for me, and I got lucky.
But let's back up though. Why did you want to own a pickleball team? What's your background there that led you to say, hey, I want to own a pickleball team?
Playing pickleball.
Just playing pickleball.
That's really it.
Tennis background?
Zero tennis background. Okay. You don't need one to be good. It helps, but I think that if you put in the time, whatever sports background you have or no sports background, you can become good at pickleball, and you can enjoy it no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Reuben, I know you sold a company recently, and then you got bored, and you said, I'm going to start this venture, right? What's your story? What's the background? How do you come to say, I want to start this athletic club with pickleball being the highlight?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so again, just like everyone else, grew up locally here, have always kind of felt entrepreneurial, have had a hard time working for other people, and have always just had ideas I wanted to go after. making happen. And so, my last roughly 10 years was a software company I built from scratch, focused on the university and college space. And we tracked everything students did while they were in school and mapped it to retention and graduation rates. So we were deep into demographic data, behavioral analysis with activities on campus and all of that. And so I'm getting in the weeds a little bit with it because that's what I'm trying to bring to the club experience, and understanding who the demographics are and who the users are, and optimizing utilization and capacity and all of that to make sure everyone has a great time across all of the different age ranges, skill levels, and everything there. Obviously, with a software background, I'm more or less running the software stack for the club, which will be, I think, in the lead nationwide from what we've seen for the customer experience for that. And yeah, I mean, I haven't gone after a hospitality concept myself yet, but I've always been in love with them, hence the connection to these guys and wanting to get in that space. So
Just the collaboration here, it just feels so good. It just makes so much sense. I don't know what happens behind the scenes, but just knowing like that, what each skill set you guys bring to the table, I'm very, 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 very excited about this. So let's talk about the club a little bit, because it's more than just pickleball. We highlighted the restaurant, but it's a club. Right. So what else is happening there? Whoever wants to take it.
yeah, we're thinking of it as like an urban country club would be the way to think about it, but accessible, which is kind of contrast to what most country clubs are, right?
You mean I don't have to pay $100,000 to get?
There is zero initiation fee, actually,
wow.
right? So like, yeah, right. And you're joking at $100,000, but I think we all know that some of the clubs here are $100,000.
That's not a joke. That's what I'm
initiation,
saying. I pulled that number for a reason.
Yeah, and then you can sit on a wait list
Right.
until you
And
get
you
in.
can enjoy most of the property without being a club member.
That's right. Yeah, and so it will not be exclusive to members. The industry term is semi-exclusive, which still feels kind of exclusive, but it will be fully open to the public. Anyone can come eat and drink. Anyone can come play. They can pay hourly, daily. But if you're a member, you don't have to pay to play, and you get access to some exclusive spaces, like a nice 3,000 square foot multi-room membership lounge experience and private bar, an outdoor garden exclusive to members, some special events, and then major discounts like you would expect on food and beverage and pro shop and everything else as well, and social programming designed just for some of the members there at the club as well. But yeah, overall, from an athletic standpoint, 14 pickleball courts. So we're taking a city that, where are we up to? Maybe 40 or so courts, public courts right now?
Yeah, about
Something
that.
like that.
Yeah.
So about 40 or so courts right now in the city. We're adding 14 to that, so nearly 50%
14
capacity.
indoors.
Indoor, right? Which is a huge difference.
Huge.
Huge.
Because it's so hot right now.
Yeah, yeah.
And rain.
And rain.
And
rainy.
rain. Yeah,
And rainy.
after 3
you
o'clock,
work all
4
day
o'clock.
long. You get off of work and then you can't go play. It's wild. Yeah.
Might
so
get struck by lightning.
That's yeah, and people have.
We're here to save people.
That's right. Yeah, saving
That's really
lives.
what we're here for,
That's,
is
yeah,
saving lives.
That's why they got interested in the first place. Yeah.
It's an indoor. I'm in.
Yeah. And so you're taking public, right now your option is a public court. Most don't even have restrooms, let alone any other amenities, right? So you're coupling that with a full restaurant, full bars, locker, shower, sauna, pro shop, gym, everything you'd expect in a club. Alongside pickleball, there's 2 padel. So padel is the fastest growing sport in the world, while pickleball is in the US. It's 2-sided racquetball. The ground is turf, net in the middle, 2 versus 2, glassed in court. The ball can hit off the ground and the
I've
walls.
seen. Okay, I didn't know what it was called. I've seen like snippets of
Yep.
this on Instagram or
Yep.
something like that.
Intense.
It
Yeah.
looks intense. It looks super intense.
And then we'll have 6 table tennis as well. There's a big table tennis community here. It's kind of underground because there's not a big spectatorship for that sport here. But essentially 3 paddle sports all under one roof.
This is awesome. So, is there plans to hold official tournaments at the space? Because it seems like this is like a prime venue.
100%. So that's part of
The way you lit up about it, he was like, "Hold on a minute."
I mean, you own a Major League Pickleball team that's supposed to be based here in St. Petersburg. You don't have a place to play, right? We have to go to our events in other states, like we're heading to New York here in a couple weeks. But how nice would it be to bring our team to St. Pete and play in our own indoor facility? So that's definitely part of the plan, as well as other major tours. The PPA tour, already we're in talks with a couple to have events like that come to our venue and play.
I like that. I like that a lot, and I can see you're building your own stadium.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, that is what we're doing. That's exactly it. Yeah. A big part of why we're doing this.
Likewise, we'll be doing a ton of corporate events. We have all kinds of businesses locally looking to bring tournaments and looking to do team builders and all of that. We even have a couple looking to book a wedding next year already. We'll have a 5,000 square foot event space kind of flanked by the restaurant, alongside beautiful arched windows overlooking the pickleball courts for a reception. So a lot of opportunities for that as well.
With the restaurant, Jarrett and Nathan, what's going to be unique about it? What's gonna be the vibe of this restaurant? Because you get to start a new concept together, bringing both your skill sets of beer and cocktails, right? But and food. So what's the vibe? What are we doing with the restaurant?
Yeah, so I think, we wanted to take inspiration from country clubs, obviously. So we really want it to be elevated, tavern fare or country club fare. So a lot of classics that are going to be elevated. The same way that I do my cocktail program or Nathan brews his beer, it's like, it starts with obviously sourcing really good ingredients. Nothing's like pre-made, nothing's artificial. Everything's going to be made in-house. And so, we've been diving deep actually with, kitchen designers and architects on designing a kitchen and like meticulously going through and analyzing every piece of equipment and like sending it to chefs and making sure that we're doing the right thing, because we don't want this to be an afterthought. We don't want this to be like, oh, they also have food. We want it to be, kind of a main attraction for people as well. Especially, as Reuben said, like this place is open to the public. It's not just for members. So we want people to, if you're on the Pinellas Trail, you could stop in, grab a cocktail or a glass of wine. Maybe you want to view pickleball. Maybe you want to watch a game on the TV. Maybe you just want to have a little date. And so the menu will be, I think a lot of handhelds, a lot of shareable plates as well. We'll have some healthy options. Obviously, we expect a crowd that is more like into wellness, of course. And then we'll also have this, we haven't really talked about it, but kind of a coffee and tea section and coffee and tea bar that will be, really high quality, what you can expect from Intermezzo, for example. And then some food offerings there as well. So you'll be able to get breakfast there. You'll be able to have lunch there. We're not going to have full plated entrees, for example, but we'll have enough food that, I think people will be surprised at what we can offer.
Yeah, and the idea is to keep it simple so that we can execute everything really well. And, we had the opportunity to go on a week-long trip together and visit the largest pickleball clubs kind of on the East Coast, really into Texas. And one thing we found while all crammed in small rental cars and going to 7 different states in 5 days, something like that?
6 or 7, yeah.
One thing we found, other than new ways to make fun of each other, was that food and drink really was an afterthought for a lot of these places, and which is understandable because the focus, I think, for a lot of the people that started them was pickleball. This is why we're here, and I understand the need to have a focus, but we really want to have equal focus on both pieces of these things. And I think that's what's going to make us unique, not just here, but in the United States.
100%. This is going to put, St. Pete's already on the map, right? It's no, I don't think it's the secret's out, right?
Yeah.
And so building a place of this level and this class just makes so much sense because, I've lived in St. Pete now 3 years. I have a large entrepreneurial network, right? And young movers and shakers that have been moving here. And having an athletic club like this has been a conversation that I've had with other people. It's just like a concept of like, wish there was like a cool place for people to go like work and hang out and do, and now here it is, right? And tying it with pickleball just makes so much sense. So it's really, really cool. I'm super excited.
And you will be able to work there. We're going to have some nice lounge kind of seating areas within that restaurant space where if you finish your pickleball game, you can run and jump on a Zoom call or get some work done while you're there and kind of go back and forth, which we saw at quite a few of the other clubs we visited.
Because that's the environment right now. Work from home is still a thing. Some people are going by a little more of a hybrid thing, but to have, a midday pickleball session and then hop on the Zoom, like you said, at a cool place and being able to have lunch and hang out, like it just makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think it was really important for us to not want to pigeonhole ourselves just for people who play pickleball. It's like, obviously it's going to be set up perfectly for that, but there's a huge social component to this. And especially as a member, I think there's going to be massive networking opportunities and a big social component, but we really want this to be equal in terms of like a social experience and a food experience and a drink experience.
So for those who are super into pickleball right now saying, okay, I've already gone to some places, had to wait for a court, what's the anticipation in terms of demand? 14 courts is a lot, but what, if I have that court, do I have it all day? Am I locked in? Am I renting it for an hour? What's the operations behind management of the courts?
Sure. So as a member, you can always come in and play on open shareable courts whenever you want. You can play all day if you want. If you want to reserve a court, you'll be able to. We're probably going to have something like a 2-hour limit on a reservation. And non-members can also reserve. They just don't get the length of time ahead of time to be able to book. So they might be full from members, of course. And we'll also have all kinds of programming. So certain times of the day, certain days, we'll have times for certain age groups or certain skill levels. We'll do things like ladders where we might take 8 courts of the 14. And if you're a lower level player, you start on the bottom court, higher level players on the top, and it lets you start to mix in and see where you stand a bit more. Leagues, all that.
Could start the paddle system, like the flip flop system out.
That's what they have.
Shore, right?
That's what they have.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So that makes sense.
Yep.
Makes a lot of sense. I had another question there, but I completely.
Well, you kind of I'll say you kind of mentioned demand a little bit, right? And so the demand has been incredible. We have done zero marketing. We had a list of groups. Graham is pretty responsible for running almost all of the beginner meetup groups in the Tampa Bay area. Almost 4,000, 5,000 players, right?
Yeah.
And so they play 8 days a week, something like that now.
We're over 6 days a week where we have beginner meetup groups, and they're as big as 40 to 60 people per group per day. So it's a lot of new people coming into the sport, and someone's got to handle them, right?
You just reminded me of my question in terms of coaching.
Yep. Yeah. So alongside reservations and open play, we'll have well over a dozen teaching pros at the club. Travis Rettenmeyer, who's one of the top 15 male pros in the world and was a top 50 world tennis player back in the day, is one of our resident pros. We have a second resident pro that we haven't announced yet that will be coming later this year for the club as well. That they'll also be available for teaching and clinics and all kinds of things as well. But demand-wise, we sent out an initial email to those lists, other lists that we had built, roughly 10,000 people just once. And then we had the initial press release that got covered. We had over 500 people sign up for memberships in the first week.
Whoa.
And we've been continuing through a rough trend like that since then. And we're going to cap at 1,000 members before we open, and we're very close to that right now, and the price is continuing to increase as we get to that. We think we'll have room for more, but we won't go over 1,000 until we see what the utilization is like after opening.
Makes a lot of sense. This grand opening is going to be popping.
We will likely. Well, I've been thinking about that. We'll likely end up having multiple days so that it's not everyone all at one time.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. And what a unique location. Let's talk about that a little bit. So where was the concept of this idea in terms of the sale of the factory and you guys getting that lease space? Did you have the idea before, or was it found location and then that made sense? Like, how did that come to play?
No, we had the idea before. That was actually the first location we were interested in. It seemed perfect. To be honest, the logistics of the size of the building, columns in buildings, there's maybe only 4 or 5 even potential places, not even available, just in St. Pete that could fit this without building new. And so that was one of the first places we went to. They had the vacancies already in most of the space that made sense for it. Obviously, as it was with the factory and the previous ownership group, they were exclusively focused on art. And obviously, I mean, you can read in the news kind of how some of that went, unfortunately. And we spoke with the now ownership group ahead of time when they were putting their offer in, and we're kind of we hadn't signed, but we were handshaked on a lease as a part of them going in to purchase that property. So that was the plan as they went in, to say we're going to keep the arts, consolidate everyone into a nicer, newer spaces, and then let these guys build pickleball and the social club.
Yeah, and the hope is that this drives more traffic into that area, right? The Warehouse Arts District is so special and so unique and so great for our city. And over the years, so many different people have been a part of continuing to evolve it and make it better and better and better. And we just hope to be a small piece of that trend that's been happening for the last 20 to 30 years. Reuben's on the board of the Warehouse Arts District, so he's well-versed in everything that's going on there. But we hope that this brings a lot more traffic to the area, which will be great for everyone who's already there as well.
100%. Knowing that the volleyball community here in St. Pete is big and people buy homes to be close to volleyball courts, I can see real estate around the factory, around the athletic club, for those that are dedicated to pickleball, people will want to live near there just so they don't have to commute far.
I mean, I've had people tell me they've already moved here from out of state because the club's coming.
Incredible.
Yeah. And then, like, obviously, I'm sure most people that are listening to the podcast follow a lot of the zoning and the different things happening. But the Warehouse Arts District is going through its own upzoning and will be the kind of the next renaissance in the city with the trail in focus.
This is a great segue just into the future of St. Pete and thinking about how downtown vibe is continuing to move west, right, out towards the beaches. And this is a huge piece of that, of continuing that development down central. You guys have been here most of your lives, if not all of it. Where do you think the city's going? I kind of want each one of your takes.
That's a huge question.
Yeah.
Everyone has a different opinion, right? And I know for a lot of us that grew up here, people have a lot of complaints about certain things that are happening too. But I always say, and I'm speaking for myself here, problems dealing with growth are way better than problems dealing with a city that's dying. So we'll take those issues any day of the week and figure out the best way forward and how to work through that. But everyone who's in St. Petersburg realizes it's special. And I think the hope is that with that mindset, everyone's making decisions based upon trying to keep St. Pete special while also growing. How you do that, that's the question, right? But there's a lot of really exciting projects coming down the pipeline that I think are going to be really critical for us to get right as a city. But I think the sky's the limit for St. Petersburg. You can travel anywhere in the U.S. and you can go to some really cool places, but I've never been to a place quite like this. And we want to continue that on. And like you were saying, I think between Central Avenue and the trail, there's already a great connector that brings us further west and connects us with the beaches even more than we already are.
100%.
Yeah, I very much agree with Nate. I think what some people may not realize is the city was designed for this early on. There hasn't been very much zoning change to get where we are right now. This stuff's always been available to do. And even more specifically, the highway system was designed for a more unified, walkable downtown. You go over to the other city over there.
We don't cross that bridge.
No. You go over
another city.
You go over there. I've heard. I don't know. You can kind of see it in the distance, maybe. You go over there and
That won't be our second location.
you go over there and the highway's cutting and dicing that city up, right? And you don't have that here. You have a single artery going through. You have perfectly executed exit ramps throughout that create the opportunity to do what's happening now. And so I think it was coming and now it is. But I very much agree. I rather deal with problems of growth than the other way around. And I think as long as we continue to be smart about the ordinances that we're setting, requiring certain things, big list of them, obviously, we're going to be in a good place.
Yeah, and to add to that, by the way, I think just as someone living here, it's really exciting to finally see the city where there's multiple different neighborhoods with different personalities growing, right? In the way that New York has boroughs and Brooklyn has its own vibe and Manhattan, the Lower East Side, whatever. Here, it's like, okay, we have Beach Drive. We have even the Pier is its own district. We have the Edge District. We have the 600 block. There's Grand Central. Soon there's the Warehouse Arts District is coming up. And so, even the beach is its own thing. So as everyone grows and this city grows, you have, something for everybody, I think. Whereas before it seemed like it was, like, oh, you can go to the Edge District, but there's only one or two places. Or, if you want to go to the Grand Central, there's only one or two places. But now they're really each holding its own.
I agree.
I think one of the things on the tour that we did is we went to the Beltline in Atlanta. And I think that seeing something along those lines happen for the Pinellas Trail would be great, because I know I ride my bike. It's like, okay, I'm making the trek from my place in downtown and probably my destination is Gulfport. I'm going to get brunch on Sunday, right? Nothing in between. You're just riding, which is nice, but it would also be nice to halfway through ride past a place where the fence is open. It looks inviting. I see people on the patio having drinks and eating breakfast, and I stop in. Maybe I have to go to the bathroom, grab a drink halfway through my trip. And I think if we see more of that happen with the Pinellas Trail, it's just another one of these outdoor spaces that St. Pete is known for that, becomes another destination. And I think this is part of that.
It's happening.
Right.
It's happening. This is a part of it for sure. And what I love about you guys in this project, which is going to help it, is and I talked about at the beginning, is the local feel. Imagine if this was outside partners from another state coming in to do this, it just wouldn't have the same touch. And that's my only concern with the growth of the city, is us losing our local feel, because that's the specialness that Nathan had talked about that keeps St. Pete.
Yeah, and this was actually Reuben's driving force, I think, and motivate. When we first started talking, the words that came out of Reuben's mouth were, if we don't do it, somebody else is, and they're going to be a large franchise from somewhere else, and we would all feel horrible if that happened, when we could have done this ourselves.
And we've met them. I mean, some of the clubs that we visited were going to come here and are not, because they know we're the ones behind this and building this and are capturing the local market and are building it for St. Pete the way it should be built.
It's perfect, and it makes sense. And because Top Golf is not doing so hot. I don't know if you knew that. Right?
I just saw the recent news around that. They've got a 3% downtrend year over year right now.
Right. I mean, because it's become like an Applebee's.
Yeah.
Right. And so this is not. And I think that's as St. Pete continues to grow, change is good. Change is inevitable. It's going to happen one way or another. Right. Change is constant. But if it's going to change, it's change for the better. But as we continue to grow and the city and prices of leases go up, my concern, and this is where it's awesome that you guys are doing this, is that bigger corporations start coming in and pricing out the local guy, and now we start to lose our feel. So it's important what you guys are doing just to keep that local feel and the support small business and keeping everyone intertwined. The fact that we have 4 different business owners coming together to create something special. It's more than pickleball. It's more than just a restaurant. It's bringing the community even more together. The fact that you have weddings that are being booked there and other community events, like this is a huge, huge deal.
Exactly
Yeah,
right.
and those smaller local players need the support of the city to continue doing this, to make things as seamless as possible for us to take the risk and do new things. And we also really need the support of our community, which is, again, why I think this place is special. None of us exist as far as our brick and mortar businesses without the community understanding that they're going to have to come out and enjoy these spaces we create and spend a little money too.
Yeah, I will say, I think it does take a little bit of a mind shift change for a lot of locals because, like you said, it is inevitable. And, Intermezzo signed a lease for a new spot. And, the person that we took that was about to sign is a national franchise, right? And so, we ended up paying a little bit more than I thought was comfortable, but I think it takes local operators to be like, all right, it's no longer the Sleepy St. Pete that was 10 or 20 years ago. Like, you do have to get a little bit more uncomfortable with the fact that prices are going up a little bit, but you have a larger base here and you have customers, I think, a really hardcore local audience that will support your product. So, it is a little scary, and you do want to go, well, it's St. Pete, so it shouldn't be, maybe the rent shouldn't be this much or whatever it is, but it is inevitable. And so I think that, if you can kind of get comfortable with that, then it will pay off. So,
well, the population, it's supply and demand, right?
Yeah.
The amount of condo towers going up around is just increasing. You think every building, that's another 200-300 residents coming into the area, which is increasing the demand for everything around the local area. But community. The one thing that I've discovered through this podcast is that there are so many micro communities in St. Pete, whether that's the yoga community, the beach volleyball, the entrepreneurs, the e-riders who are going around on Thursday nights, the art community. I mean, you name it. The sound bowl community that's out at Treasure Island and the drum circles. I mean, there's communities upon communities, right? Of all shapes and sizes, which is really, really unique and makes the city really special. And the only other place I've been that's kind of close to it is Austin, but it's still, Austin's getting to a place that's a little weird now. And it's always, that's our motto, right? Keep it weird. But I think we're better than Austin, in so many ways. And it's so important for more local business owners to continue to do what you guys are doing, to your point that you said, because we got Foot Locker coming into town, we got these other big corporations that are coming into town, and they're going to look at opportunities just as we are, right? So I love what you guys are doing on that. It's really special. Like this as
Thank
you
you.
guys are all sitting here, I'm like, this is a special moment. It really is. Just to hear all your stories. So
We're excited.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
So let's back to pickleball just for a second, because obviously not that pickleball is the center, but
We get it. You want to come out and play.
I want to come out and play.
By the way, volleyball does translate well into pickleball.
Does it?
Volleyball players usually are very good at pickleball.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The jumping, the athleticism, and then
Yeah.
the knowing of the movement and
Yeah.
where to cover on the court.
I purposely have not gotten into pickleball yet. Because
until the club opens, right? You're
until
waiting
the
for
club opens,
Just
because
waiting
I've
for
been
the
waiting
club.
for this moment, because I need an indoor court.
Yeah,
I'm
we need to
bougie.
get you out there.
Because I know I've become addicted. And I already
Yeah.
have too many hobbies, and I wear a lot of hats already. But this will be one that I'll be excited
You
about.
get a workout of there.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be great.
We'll
you
have
know?
some. We'll have some phone booths in there in the member space, so you can take calls and everything
We need
in
that.
there.
We need that.
We'll
need
have a
that.
podcast lounge for you.
We'll be hanging out.
Yeah.
We'll be hanging out. No, I'm going to be a part of the club 100%. This is I've already been sold. But pickleball, where's the future of pickleball going? Because it's a new concept. Is it a fad, or is it here to stay?
I don't think amateur pickleball is a fad. So I think that it's going to continue to grow. It's very accessible. You can see all the courts. Our biggest problem is actually courts, believe it or not. And now that the private sector is jumping in, pretty quickly, it's going to help with that. But amateur pickleball is here to stay for a while, 10, 20 years plus. It's been here since the 60s. It just hasn't been big since the last 5 years, right? Professional pickleball is a different story. We don't know where that's going. You have to have viewership for that. We don't have it yet. But my mentality is it's like golf. If you have 40 million people playing it or 60 million people playing it recreationally, if you can grab some very small percentage of that recreational player that enjoys watching it, then you have viewership and you have a professional sport. And so my answer from where I am, I would say, is that it's not a fad. It's going to be here for quite a while.
I can see that. And I like back to community. It creates community. Right, because it is accessible for people. I've heard of so many people of all ages playing it, so I think it makes a lot of sense from that, and it's cool. And I think as more clubs around the country pop up, right, it becomes more of that place to hang out. Because right now, there's probably people who's like, well, it's too hot, and now what happens when you don't do something for 4 months? You might not pick it back up. Right, you lose the habit. So the fact that there's an indoor place now,
Yeah, and what's special about it is you know, from the age of 3 to 70 plus, you can play pickleball, and if you've never played before, it's relatively easy to pick up. It's difficult to become really good, like Graham over here. But you can play. You can
Better than that.
Yeah, a lot better. I mean, Jarrett rolled his ankle the first place we played at.
Yeah. You guys got to be careful out there. Okay?
But anyone can play and anyone can pick it up easily, and that's what makes it fun. And people can have a great time on the courts without acting as if they're a professional.
And it's not just the age range and the fact that you can have fun your first time. It's that you can have someone at the bottom of the range playing with someone at the top of the range, and both of them are on the same level and having fun. And it's very rare in almost any other activity or sport or just in general that works. And it works in pickleball. And you're not, even just the mechanics of the size of it, right? A tennis court, you're playing players pretty far apart. In table tennis, you're close, but it's a more difficult sport to pick up. Pickleball, you're just close enough where you can talk to someone on the court. You can sit,
talk a little smack.
You can, right? Yeah. But you can get to know somebody while you're playing, right? You can sit 4 or 5 feet off the sideline and spectate and heckle and get to know other people. I mean, at Crescent Lake last night, there were probably 80 people out there at 7 o'clock at night, and half of them were sitting courtside, socializing, drinks, non-alcoholic, of course, and all kinds of things. And so you don't get that on almost anything else, sport-wise.
Yeah, Graham was out there last night heckling like that. What was that 5-year-old, 6-year-old?
You had it coming.
Well, Graham, I love what you're doing. Doing a little research prior to this and just spectating. I saw your video that you posted about whether the ball looks in bounds or out of bounds.
Your most viral post.
I've noticed the in and out ball guy.
Yeah.
That's going to be my legacy, unfortunately.
No, but it's so true. I mean, the way you describe that, because I've been in other sports, even in volleyball or wherever, where it looks like sometimes it's in and someone else is calling it out, but never thought about
Yeah,
what
your
you show.
perspective, right? Yeah.
I mean, perspective is everything, but I just like that the knowledge that you're bringing and helping people learn more about the intricacies of the sport, which keeps people interested because there is, there's entry level, but then and there's advanced, and anything that people can get better at keeps them coming back. Like golf, man, golf is frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is what's another point about this sport is most sports, you have to bring your people with you to play it, right? Like if you go to play golf, you've got to bring friends. If you're going to play tennis, you can't just show up to a tennis court and play tennis. It doesn't work. You can't say, hey, guys, these two people are playing. Can I jump in? Pickleball is not that way. You show up to any court across the country, more than likely there are people there playing that want to play with you. And so you just show up to a court. You don't even need a paddle. They'll probably let you borrow one and start playing. And I think that's another reason why you say, is it a fad? I don't think it is. I think it's just a social environment where people are going to be attracted to. And I think as a community, we're becoming more social, right? We want to get outside. We want to be athletic. We need somehow to connect, not on our phones. And this is one of those major experiences where you can do that for almost no cost.
I agree with that 100%. I think ever since COVID, people are now coming back out of and realizing how important sense of community, doing something outdoors is, off the screen time, increase in anxiety and all the things. We all seen the reports, right? Everyone's more anxious than ever and spending too much time on screens and doing all that and having a lack of social self. So this is cool. I'm trying to think where else we can go from here, gentlemen. I think you covered like a lot of it. Is there anything that we're missing or any highlights that were on St. Pete Athletic?
No, I'd say just the kind of sale point at the end is, like I mentioned before, membership's filling up. We're going to cap it. The price is going to go up. If you're interested, Ryan, in getting a membership, honestly, now's the time because it might not be available. And so stpeteathletic.com is the spot to go to check out everything you get, sign up, reserve your membership for now. And yeah.
And we'll be slowly releasing some fun information, exciting news over the next 6 or 7 months as this gets closer to being a reality with construction happening. But renderings, our brand, what's the brand going to look like? What's the feel? What's the vibe? What's the design? All these fun things will be happening in the next few months here.
Definitely.
I love it. And I appreciate you guys. I mean, I've never done 4 people at once, but you guys, you know what? I can tell you guys spend a lot of time together on your road trip, right?
Too much time.
Yeah.
A couple Bucky stop-ins.
Yeah. Okay. You got
Big Bucky's guy right
Big
here.
Bucky's. You got to do the Bucky stops. But
We were actually, even Bucky's inspired us. We were talking yesterday about potentially going full pebble ice at the club.
Why not? Yeah, but you guys can tell you're close. You spent the time. I love the research that you've done together. I love the collaboration. This is such an exciting project for St. Pete. So appreciate you guys doing this. More than you know, I think is, like I said, I've talked about many times on this show about how we just have to keep St. Pete local. We got to make sure that as we grow, we don't let the big guys come in and ruin the vibe, right? You got to keep the vibes vibing. And I'm a deep dive kind of guy in terms of questions. So keeping it surface level, I would love to have each of you back on the show individually to learn more about that because you all have helped shape this city and will continue to do so. And the legacy that we leave behind is really cool. And so just appreciate you guys. So one more time, where can we find all the info?
So stpeteathletic.com, however you want to spell it, ST or SAINT.
Okay, we got all the SEO going. Graham, where can they find you?
stpeteathletic.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the most important thing.
That's the most important thing.
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the center of everything.
Okay. You guys want to plug anything?
Yeah, I'm at Intermezzo every day. Come find me there.
Get
Bar
that espresso
Mezzo
martini.
soon. And then, yeah, exactly. Cafe Mezzos. And then, St. Pete Athletic coming on early next year, so I'll be there too.
Yeah, and of course, Green Bench Brewing. I live there, like Jarrett lives at Intermezzo, and we're excited about hopefully, next 6 to 8 weeks, the weather cooling down a little bit, and that beer garden's the perfect spot to hang out.
Can't wait for the weather to break.
Yeah.
We're all waiting for that. Yes. Well, gentlemen, appreciate you. Reuben, Graham, Jarrett, Nathan, thank you so much for being here. It means the world to the community and to Talkin St. Pete. So thank you guys. Excited for what you're doing. If you're still here watching, you're one, thank you, right? We need one word, gentlemen. Who's going to come up with it first? What should they comment below if they're still with us?
Bucky's.
I'm looking at what St. Pete is, and I think the word's opportunity.
Opportunity. I love that. I love that. Comment opportunity. If you're still with us, go find these guys. Get ready for the club to come. Get your membership because they're going to sell out. I can tell this is going to happen. So appreciate all of you. Like, share, tag a friend, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye, everybody.